So we're going to talk about sellers. It's my favorite topic. I love this topic. It is all about the listings. Okay. Don't get me wrong. We like the buyers. Buyers are great, wonderful. Sellers are even better. All right. So when you think about the topic, win the seller, right? You're showing up here, win the seller. What are you hoping to walk away with? What are you hoping to learn? Come off mute, raise your hand, or throw it in the chat box. Oh, by the way, I will totally just sit here and stare at the screen.
So,
Those hawks.
so from my perspective, that seller is out there, right? So someone's going to get that seller, and you need to make sure you are the person that seller knows, trusts, sees the value that you have, so that they're the ones that you will go with. And most sellers can be buyers, so you've got a seller and a buyer possibly as well.
Twofer. Yep. We love the twofers in business. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Kevin. I see here in chat, the mission is to get the listing. Right. So let's go with that, right? So if the mission is to get the listing, now here's the thing. There's a great saying that I tell everybody I coach, and it's, I worked with an agent this week who went on her very first listing appointment. And she got it. She got the listing. She was up against, they were interviewing 3 agents, and she landed the listing. We had a huge celebration. I was so proud. And I said to her, we're sitting down, we're working on it, we're preparing for the appointment. She had everything she needed. And I said to her, this is your listing if you choose to accept it. And I want you to go there saying, this is my listing. If I choose, I want you to drive the 20 minutes to this listing appointment and the entire ride say, this is the listing if you choose to accept it. Right? Because some listings you're going to go on and they're not going to be ones you want to work with. And that's fine. This is your business. You get to say no to things. Right? And then other ones you're going to want to go on, or you will go on, and you're going to want it. You will want that listing. You're going to want to see your sign in the yard, your name in the yard. And it's yours if you prepare properly and if you choose it, right? It's all about, a lot of it is all mindset. So let's dive in here. So what we're going to be going through tonight, we're going to talk about how to find and qualify an A seller. What does that even mean? How to actually land the appointment, the pre-listing packet, right? How do they get to know you a little bit before you even go out? Where sometimes when we do that so well, we can actually knock on a door, say to them, hi, I'm Alana. Very nice to meet you. I'm so excited to be here. Right? We had an appointment at 6 o'clock and it's 5:59. You ready to get your house listed? And they'll just say, okay. And you sit down at the table and they sign. Every so often that does happen, by the way. We're going to talk about the listing appointment, listing agreement, and then of course, just tying it all together with a pretty bow. Okay. I just want to check the chat box every so often. Oh, how do you, I love this. How do you turn down a listing? Okay. When we get to the listing appointment, whoever asked that question, remind me. Okay. Just be like, oh, we're on the listing appointment. I'm going to make a note for myself as well. When we get to talk about the listing appointment, I want to make sure I give examples of how to turn down the listing appointment as well. Like how do you go into an appointment knowing when to walk away? That was a great question.
That was Charlie.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, remind me, please. Okay. So here's the thing. Why are seller listings so critical? Right here it says seller listings are critical. Why is that? Why do you think that is?
Don't sellers drive the market? You need buyers, but sellers drive the market.
Sellers drive the market. Absolutely. Right. Listings, there's a phrase, listings will always be king or queen, whatever you want to call it. Listings will be your leverage. Listings will be your success. You can have it with buyers. I have an agent I work with where 85% of their business is buyers, and they're extremely successful. All right. They do over 110 buyers a year. I'm not saying ignore the buyers, but if you focus on listings, you'll get more buyers. We're going to talk about how to do that in just a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about the A qualified sellers. Now, here's what that means. That means the seller is able, ready, and willing. Now, it says here to do business in 14 days. I'm going to change that up a little bit because every market changes that a tad. And I'm going to give you a story in just a little bit about when a seller is an A seller, but maybe not so much in 14 days. Okay. But let's talk about this. Able, ready, and willing. What does that mean, right? So able means they're financially able. That's actually what that word means. They're financially able, right? They have enough equity in the house to sell it. So it's not, already getting foreclosed on. It's not being picked up by a bank. They have enough equity to sell it and break even or make some money on it. Financially able also means, are they buying a house? And if they sell their house, are they financially able to buy? Right? We don't want anybody homeless. Right? Ready is, are they ready? Right? Do they have a why to sell their house? Right? Why are they selling? Are they truly, truly ready to sell? Or are they just kind of testing out the market to be like, well, if I can get this amount for my house, I'll sell it. But if I can't get that amount, I'll just stay put. And then finally, willing. You could meet with somebody who financially, yeah, they can sell, they can buy, they're good. They might be ready in the sense that I know I want to move. I know I need something bigger for my kids because they're growing out of their one room they're sharing. Or I know I need something smaller because my kids moved out, or just because I'm getting older, or whatever it is. And I need to, I'm tired of cleaning. The willing part, that's a whole different story, right? You may actually come across a seller, and if you do enough business, this will happen, by the way. You will eventually come across a seller who, actually, I'll give you a perfect example of this. So I went on a listing appointment with one of the agents I coach about 2 months ago. And the person selling the home was the daughter of her father owned the house, passed away. So the daughter was selling it. Well, this home had a lot of sentimental value. This home is where she grew up. So financially, she was able to. That house had a ton of equity. It was gonna be very easy to sell in this market. Ready, she was ready in the sense that she's not living in the house. She lives in a totally different state, right? So she's like, yes, I need to get rid of this house. She wasn't willing. She wasn't there mentally yet, right? That's what willing means. So it took a lot of follow-up to finally get to that point. 2 months of follow-up, to be honest, right? For her to finally be willing. You cannot give someone will. Okay, so it's all about just being there and following up and being ready when they are. Who's seen this circle? Has anybody seen the circle? Oh, I see a hand. Okay. Oh, I see another hand. So is anybody reading or have you started reading, or maybe you read, or maybe you just own it and it's sitting on your coffee table and you're looking at it every so often, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book? We call it the Red Book. Okay. When you open the Red Book, this is front and center, right? This is that book. The book talks about leads, listings, and leverage, right? You've already had some Ignite classes talking about the leads, right? And we'll talk a little bit about some ways to find seller leads pretty quickly. I want to make sure you leave with some ways to actually land a listing this week if you want to. I don't know why you wouldn't want to, but I'll just say if you want to. The reason why listings is that second part of this triangle is because with every listing, approximately how many pieces of business does an agent get? Do you know? When an agent gets a listing, they put a sign in the yard. Does anybody know approximately how many other pieces of business you get? All right, so I see in the chat box 2. Any other guesses? 4. If someone says 6 and 8, that'll be really fun. Did I just age myself with that joke? I might have. Okay, so right in between 3. There's the thing, not every listing is going to give you 3 pieces of business, but when marketed properly, when priced properly, that listing and your sign in the yard should bring you 3 other pieces of business. It should bring you 2 other buyers and 1 other listing. Where's that other listing coming from? So I said it's bringing you 2 other buyers. That's easy. They're calling the sign, they're coming to the open house, but where's the other listing coming from?
A neighbor?
Yes. Oh, thank you. Absolutely. It's coming from a neighbor. Now it's coming from a neighbor in 2 ways. Either one, the neighbor keeps driving home and they're seeing your sign and they're thinking about selling. So they're like, oh, maybe we'll give Annie a call. Or you're actually prospecting to find that other thing, that other listing, should I say. Here's another rule of thumb. Now, the one I'm about to say varies depending on the time of year. Spring market, this is very true. Spring market being March to June. Okay. What I'm about to say is very true in the spring market. It varies other seasons. Does anybody know when a sign goes in a yard? So all of you land a listing. Congratulations, 14 days from now, you all get a listing. We're celebrating, we're high-fiving, right? And then other houses in that neighborhood are going to sell. They're going to pop up. They're going to have signs in the yard. Within 90 days, there's a certain number of homes that are going to be on the market. Does anybody want to take a guess at that number? How many homes approximately will go on the market within the same neighborhood, depending on time of year and depending on, I mean, obviously if it's a home, if there's a neighborhood where it's literally a home and nothing around it, that doesn't count because there's no other houses. But about how many about how many houses are going to go on the market within 90 days. Oh, I like how we're in the 2 to 4 range again. So 2 to 4 range, exactly. Typically 3 other homes, but yes, 2 to 4, especially in the spring market, 2 to 4 homes will put a sign in their yard and they're going to choose an agent within about 90 days, maybe 4 months in the market we're in right now. And what's interesting is if you start driving around and looking at signs, start paying attention to that. If you see a sign pop up in your neighborhood or a local neighborhood around you, take note, like a mental note of, oh, okay, I just saw that sign, it popped up today. And then make it a point to drive through that neighborhood in the next 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. How many other signs popped up? And are they all the same agent or different agent? Now, if all 2 to 4 are the exact same agent, we'll say 4. If all 4 are the exact same agent, what does that tell you typically about the neighborhood?
That agent prospected that neighborhood?
Exactly. That agent prospect that neighborhood, or that neighborhood is what's called their farm, meaning that they're a household name. When people in that neighborhood think of real estate, they think of that person. Okay. Now, when you go and you have your sign in your yard, okay, which is going to happen to each and every one of you because you're attending tonight. So when you go and you have your sign in your yard, the very first thing you do is you let the neighbors know. You introduce yourself to every single one of those neighborhoods. You knock on the doors, you call them, you send them something in mail, all of the above, to make sure they know you're there. Now, let's take this one step further. How can you land a listing in a neighborhood without having, so let's say that, okay, let's use some names here. Is it Charisse? Okay, so let's say Charisse gets a listing today. Congratulations. And she puts a sign in the yard, right? Puts a sign in the yard. And then she doesn't, okay, maybe she, lets the neighbors know about an open house, but that's about it. What could everybody else in this call do to find a listing in that neighborhood? What could you do?
Reach out to the neighbors and let them know that there is a house on the market in their neighborhood. And would they be interested in having a conversation maybe?
That's it. Now you can't mark it as your own because that's not your listing. That's not allowed. You can't be like my listing or but you can say, hey, there's a house. Yes, I see it in the chat box, door knock. You let the neighbors know, hey, there's a house. Oh, hold on, someone's not mute. There's a house in the neighborhood. I don't know if you noticed down the road that's for sale. There's most likely, now I can say this today, but keep an eye on the market. You don't never say anything that's not true to the market. But in today's market, we can typically say there's most likely going to be multiple buyers looking at that home, which means there will be buyers who don't get it. They don't win the house. They're still going to be looking, right?
I have a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Um, so taking the example that you just gave,
Mhm.
I have a posting in front of a home and all of my other teammates uh, are noticing that. So to reach out to the other neighbors, would it be it I guess it would be all in fair game to say, let's say it was Kevin and his wife. Could I then say, oh, hey, I see that one of my peers are, well, talking to another neighbor, I could say one of my peers are also advertising a home for sale up the street. We work together. I would love to represent you if you're looking into selling your home, something like that. But would it be fair game to say, I see Keller Williams up the street. I'm also a Keller Williams representative.
So I just want to make sure I'm hearing your question correctly so I answer it properly. Is what you're asking, is it playing nice in the sandbox?
Yes.
Okay. So the answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Here's why. I'm going to say a number right now. I'm going to give you a range. Somewhere between 80 to 90% of agents will not prospect around their listings. They throw a sign in the yard, they hope it sells, right? There you go. So here's my personal philosophy on it. There are people in the neighborhood who need help. They need help. They need a good agent to help them. And in real estate, whoever builds the relationship and builds the trust and is there to help for when they're ready wins. Right? So 100%. I mean, if you're wondering, if some of you are wondering like, oh, I really need to connect with more people next week, right? Between this week and next week, because I'm not getting appointments, I'm not getting the results I want. I would challenge you, find a listing, any listing, doesn't matter. Find a listing in a price point you like, in a neighborhood you like, and then go introduce yourself to the neighbors. Again, don't say that you cannot advertise that listing as yours. You're simply introducing yourself as a local real estate agent and seeing who they might know, or if that might be thinking about selling now or in the future. Like, hey, what are your future real estate plans? Because I'm assuming we're all on here. We want business next year as well. Right? Yes. Okay. Hopefully. I know I do. I see a hand raised. Annie? If you're talking, you're on
Yes,
mute.
I'm sorry. I was gonna offer this, and I wish I knew the girl's name. It was out of Florida. I Googled YouTube. I'm brand spanking new to everything, so I'm still learning and soaking up everything that I can. But I on YouTube, I Googled open houses, and one of the coolest ideas that I've heard so far is she goes a few days before the open house and does kind of the door knocking. But
Mhm.
what she does is, if they're not there, she leaves a flyer in the door inviting the neighbors to an exclusive
Yep.
premiere an hour before the open house, so that they feel, I guess, special and like I said, exclusive to come and meet her. And I thought, holy cow, that's the best idea I've ever heard.
All right. So I will tell you this, that right there is pure gold. That is part of what's called the 7th level plan of an open house. Because when somebody in the neighborhood visits your open house, they're going to tell you they're just looking because they're a nosy neighbor. Oh, I'm just curious about the house. Just want to see their paint colors. They're lying to you, not on purpose. Okay. What they're really there to do is look to see how similar this house is to their house, because they're thinking of selling. It doesn't mean they're thinking of selling right now, but they are thinking of selling. Right. I love that. I'm going to ask for a favor right now of the room. Now I'm probably going to do this and get like 20 million text messages, but if someone could raise their hand and remind me, if someone can shoot me a text, I literally just put my cell number in here. Okay. So if someone wants to come off me, like, I'll do it. Text me and say, send the open house playbook. Because I won't be looking at that until tomorrow, and I won't be sending it till tomorrow. But if you don't know what the open house playbook is, I will send this to you. It is.
I'll do it.
Thank you so much, Annie. All right, Annie's doing it. It is one of the best ways to literally follow this little itty bitty playbook to not only bring more people to the open house, but to find listings. When done right, open houses should bring you a listing. It should bring you a seller. All right. So let's talk about some virtues of seller listings, right? Number one, seller listings mean marketing opportunities. Number one, you have a sign in the yard, that's marketing right there. You're hopefully posting it to social media multiple times, that's marketing right there. You can send, right? Make a flyer and send it to your entire database, even if your database has people living in other states. Don't exclude people. Oh, they live in California, they live here, they're, living in the Bahamas, right? Because number one, you don't know who they know. Number two, you just reminded them you're in real estate. Right? You have more control of your time. How do seller listings give you more control of your time? What's the easy answer to that one?
You only have
Buyer's
one place
agents
to
have
go.
to go to. Oops, sorry.
That's okay. I just said you had only. I think we were saying the same thing, Kevin. I said you only have one place to go versus taking every.
Yep. You get a buyer now. Again, we love the buyers, but you get a buyer and you are driving gas to a house, to another house, to another house, right? Then you have scheduling inspections, and you got scheduling this and scheduling that and checking with the lender, et cetera, et cetera. With a listing, you go out, you get the listing. You got photography. By the way, professional photography, not your iPhone. Okay. Do not be that agent. I will find you. Do not be that agent who takes pictures with their phone, because buyers shop with their eyes first. You're doing yourself a disservice and your seller a disservice. The only time you can take pictures is if you yourself are a professional photographer with professional cameras and know how to do the lighting to make a room look amazing. So yeah, you control your time because once you put that sign in the yard and it's priced right and you put some marketing out there, you're doing open house and waiting for some offers to come through and just keeping your seller updated. Right? And that's just communication. That's it. Seller listings maximize your per hour compensation. That kind of goes with the whole time thing, right? Those coincide. Volume, volume, volume. What that means is you have a little more control over your price point, right? I'll talk about that in just a second. With seller listings, you are on the front end of pricing, meaning you're the ones determining based on the market. We don't choose the price. The market does. Our sellers don't choose it. We don't choose it. The market does. But you're on the front end choosing price, negotiating commission, all of that, right? And then, of course, what we talked about a second ago, when you properly market a listing, it's going to bring you more business, not just more buyers, but more business, including listings. Oh, I love that. There are members taking drone.
I think my brain is moving faster than my fingers in typing. But I have a coworker whose husband, who he has gone and learned. He's taken training with the drones. So he's like, now you're a real estate agent. So if you got folks that need, for professional photography, I can also do the drone up the area and over their home for them to see. So that's what I was.
Oh, absolutely. You got the drone videos. You put
Yeah.
that on Instagram. You put that
Yeah.
on Facebook, whatever platforms you're on. Other people are seeing it out there to be like, wow, I want my house highlighted like that. Right? It's all in presentation. Right? So
Yeah, so I've been up since 5, so yeah, I might.
Oh, you're
So I'm
good.
with you.
You're good. I've been up since 6, so we're right. We can all just be there together, right? So let's talk a little bit about the seller service cycle. Okay, so it all starts with number 1, lead conversion. Guess what? I'm going to tell you all a little secret. Here's the secret. You ready for it? You're listening? You can't get a listing without a lead. You also, wait, here's the other secret. You can't get a listing without an appointment. But you can't get an appointment without a lead, and you can't get a lead without conversations. Right? So when we talk about lead generation, and which, by the way, my definition, I don't know, I didn't listen to the recording, so I don't know when talking about leads, their definition. I'm going to give you my personal definition, if that's okay. All right. And again, being both an agent, I'm right there in the business with you, as well as been a coach now since 2017. My definition of lead generation is simply this: have a conversation. I don't care where you are, how you do it. When you talk to people, you're lead generating. You bring up real estate. One of the agents I coach landed her first buyer when buying cupcakes for her daughter at a cupcake shop. She was buying cupcakes. She was wearing something real estate related. She struck up a conversation. She landed a buyer. Actually, her second buyer came from going to the bank. Right? So listings leads are everywhere because if you think about it, right? So think about where you live right now. Just give some thought to where you live right now and about how many homes are around you. Right? Is it 20? Is it 50? Is it 200? Is it 500? Every single one of those homeowners has to sell at some point. So they're either going to sell because they want to downsize or upsize, or they're going to sell because they have to financially, or they're going to sell because they're moving out of state for a new job, or they retire, or they're going to sell because they died and someone has to sell it. Morbid, but true. Right? So every single house will sell at some point. The question that we have to ask ourselves as agents is, am I going to get in relationship with enough people who are homeowners and stay in contact with them to sell it? All right, so I'm a storyteller. So if that's okay with everybody. So as we go through this, there's gonna be a story that pops up in my head. And I'm gonna be like, ooh, story time. So yesterday, literally yesterday, a I was having a morning meeting with our broker, and he's also an agent. And our broker was like, oh, we need to call and congratulate one of our agents at our brokerage, at our location. Oh, we need to go and call and congratulate this agent. He just landed a $1.2 million listing. So I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. Well, which is rare in my area. I live in so I'm in Maryland, by the way, in Baltimore area, Baltimore, DC. So, by the way, I love referrals. Baltimore, Maryland, DC, right here. So anyway, so my broker says, yeah, the problem with this agent who landed the $1.2 million listing is that it's my neighbor. Okay, so our broker, who is an agent, active in the field, lost his neighbor, who he's friends with, just listed the house with another agent. Who wants to guess why? Who wants to take a guess?
He didn't continue to remind the neighbor that he's an agent, maybe?
High-fiving you. You're not on the screen, but I'm high-fiving you. Yes, that's exactly right. The neighbor totally forgot he was an agent. Totally forgot, right? So at the end of the day, that lead conversion, you can't move to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. They won't happen, right? So you have to stick with one and just get really good at it. And then you can move to, I landed a listing appointment, so let me do a pre-listing packet. Let me go on the listing. By the way, can we just get rid of the word consultation, by the way? People do not like that. It is a scary word. You'll get more people no-showing you and canceling with that word, right? So listing appointment, listing strategy session, find another saying for it. Then you have, okay, we landed the listing. We need to service and market it. We're getting offers in. We're going to negotiate, right? Which I think in a few sessions, negotiation class is coming up. You do not want to miss that one. My goodness. Then let's get to the settlement table, right? And then there's post-close systems. Okay, so you got to the settlement table, you closed. What do you think post-close system might be?
So you stay in contact with that individual. I mean, you stay in their mind, right?
Yeah, you stay in their
Send
mind.
out
You
that
stay
anniversary
absolutely.
of their closing. See how everything's going,
Yeah.
and wait till they're ready, willing, and able to sell or buy again.
That's it right there, right? Because what we know traditionally in real estate is, number one, the majority of people, not everybody, the majority of people buy and sell every 3 to 7 years, right? So if we're keeping in contact, you're not calling them every month. Okay, unless you turn into like close best friends or something, you're not calling them every month. But mailing them a holiday card, wishing them a happy new year. If you know something about their kids and when they're graduating, sending them something for that, or calling them. If you happen to stalk people on social media, okay, use it and stalk them. If you're following them on social media and you happen to see that something amazing just happened in their life, give them a quick call and congratulate them, right? But we're going to add one, and you're putting them into Command or whatever system you're using. Okay, I'm also a Labs advisor, putting them in Command or whatever systems, and let the system do a lot of the heavy lifting for you to remember. The system will send you reminders for the home anniversary. They will send them things to update them that remind them you're an agent. Because also, they just had a great experience with you. Hopefully. They just had a great experience with you. So what could that lead to? Starts with an R.
Referral.
Greatest word ever. Yeah. Like, are we following up? Are we asking? By the way, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Just in everything you do in real estate, if you don't ask, the answer will always be no. Nothing bad will ever happen from asking. I promise you that. Okay. I've worked with over 500 agents now in the past, I don't know how many years. I promise you, nothing bad happens from asking. The worst thing to say is, I can't think of anyone. Okay, cool. Thanks. All right. Keep me in mind. Right. Now, I'm going to add one more thing to this post-close systems that sometimes they get a little conversation going on, but I'm just going to share it. When you are done, so you all have a listing, you closed it, you're sitting at the settlement table, everybody signed the documents, everybody's handing the keys over, taking pictures, you're posting them, you're congratulating, all the fun stuff. Well, your seller just sold a house to this buyer who was represented by, we'll call it Jane. Okay. Now the buyer and seller are what we call orphans, meaning they're not represented anymore. The settlement's done. There is no representation. Right. And on average, most agents stay in touch with their previous clients, maybe at best, like 15 to 18% of agents stay in touch. 15 to 18%. Okay. So that means you now know where that buyer just moved to because they just bought the seller's house, right? You have all the buyer's names. What could you do?
Add
Give
them to
them-
your contacts.
Yeah, add them to your contact. Absolutely. That same day. What else?
Congratulate them on buying their home. Ask
So
them if there's anything you could do for them in the future.
congratulate them on buying the home. Ask them if anything you can do for them in the future. Add them to your database. I'm going to take this.
Tell them you have a great referral list in case they have anything that needs to be done.
Love that. Let them know that, hey, I know this is done. You're moving in the house. I just want to be a resource to you. Not a resource to just buy and sell, a resource for anything you need real estate related. You need a plumber, a handyman, a gardener, a cleaner, whatever. Right? Like just, I want to make sure that you're moving into this beautiful house now, you're taken care of. Now you can also take it an additional step further, and about a week to 2 weeks after they move in, 2 weeks is usually good. You know the address, swing by the house, bring them a housewarming gift. Bring that buyer a housewarming gift, right? But not until like about 2 to 3 weeks after. So again, the post-close system is not just, yay, I had a transaction, we're done. This is when you really learn this cycle, because everybody circles back around and around and around. There's an agent I work with who has done 7 transactions with one person throughout his lifespan as an agent. 7 with one person. All right, so let's move forward. Let's talk about getting the appointment. All right, so you all called a whole bunch of people. You found people who said, yes, we want to sell our house because of this reason right here. We're moving out of state and we need to be closer to our family. And I'm just gonna make it up to North Carolina. We need to sell. So you found the ready, willing, and able. So now you need to get the appointment. Okay. So number one, anytime anybody says they might be thinking of selling, even if it's like I heard it on the street type thing, like, oh yeah, I think my neighbor might be thinking of selling. I think my friend might be thinking of selling. Your response time is crucial. Because if somebody says they might be thinking of selling, they're already probably thinking of who do I call? And if you wait 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, they've probably already talked to another agent. Okay. Doesn't mean you don't still try or go after it, right? So your response time needs to be quick. Get valid and complete contact information, save it in command, create your opportunity. We're not going to go on a command stuff right now because those are on Thursday nights. Number 3 is probably the most important thing that you could ever do. If there's anything you take out of tonight, I'm going to say number 3 is it. Find out why they're selling. Now, here's what I mean by that. I don't mean find out They have 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and they need 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. I don't mean they have a 2-story house and they need a rancher, right? I'm talking about the why, right? The true why. I'm going to share with you an example of that in just a second. That will share with you what an example of an actual why is, right? Their motivation. And then set the appointment, right? I'm going to tell you right now, the greatest way to set an appointment is, let's say that I am on the phone with Annie and I'm finding out why she wants to sell her house, finding out, where she's going, who's all involved. By the way, why do you want to find out who's all involved in selling the house? Oh, why is that crucial?
You have to make sure that all of the decision makers are present when you have the conversation, because we had it in another session that if a decision maker is not present, the decision makers that are there will not be able to translate effectively 100% of the information that you gave.
Yeah, you need to have thank you so much. You need to have the decision makers there. And a good rule of thumb is this: whoever is not present is the decision maker. If you go out and you meet with person A and person B is not there, person B is the one making the decision. I did that actually early on, 2015, new agent. By the way, you have to make mistakes to learn. Do not be afraid to make mistakes. That is the greatest way you're going to learn faster. The amount of mistakes I made my first year, oh my God, I would need so many hands. I can't even count them. I still make mistakes today, all the time, right? You have to do it and be okay with it. Just be like, great, I made a mistake. I learned from it. Yes, right? Just write it down. So one of the mistakes I made early on is actually 2 simultaneously. Number 1, 3 of my closest friends. Now, when I say closest friends, like we talk every month. We see each other every month. Bought and sold with other agents. All within a 3-month time span. Because I thought I'll just post on social media, send some emails out, and they'll just remember I'm in real estate. It doesn't work that way. You have to get burned sometimes to learn that. The second mistake was I started working with a friend of mine, really good friend of mine, Chris. And he's like, oh, they're looking to sell their house. Great. So I'm meet with Chris. Chris and I were hanging out. We're talking about it. I go to see the house with Chris. There was one person missing out of this because it was always during the day because of his schedule. So I'm like, oh, great. He'll just relay the message to his fiance. Well, when I went back with the paperwork to get signed, the fiance said, oh, I already chose an agent. We're going with them. So the mistake was making sure, hey, Chris, when is Trina going to be available? We're meeting together. Right? So yes, making sure everybody's present. And then when you set the appointment, make sure that you give 2 options, and a great verbiage for that would be something like this. Hey, Kevin, I am so excited to help you get to North Carolina to be closer with your family. Right? It sounds like that's really important to you. I'm looking at my calendar right now and I see that I have, well, let me ask you, do mornings or afternoons work best?
Afternoon.
Okay, so I'm looking here in the afternoon. I have today at 5:30 or tomorrow at 6:15. Which one works best for you and all parties?
I have to check with my wife, but I think today will work, but let me get with her right now.
Okay, is she available? You want me to just hold?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, see, all right, so notice what we did there. By the way, thank you, Kevin. I just totally put you on the spot. Appreciate that. So notice what we did there. Number one, you give two options. What you don't say is what works best for you, because by nature, people are not decision makers. We are not brought up as decision makers. So when it's the same thing as when you ask a friend or a spouse, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want for dinner? What do you want for dinner? And then it's an hour later and you're still hungry because you can't decide. So you need to give them two options. Then if they push back, I like that you did that, by the way. That was impromptu and perfect. Then if they put, oh, I need to talk to so-and-so, I need to do this. Okay, are they there? Can you put me on hold? Or, oh, what time do they get home? When will you talk to them? You need to get deadlines, right? And if you're brand new, you don't want to, so right now, if you're brand new and you've never been on a listing appointment, you're probably not setting same day appointments, but you do want to set appointments within 24 hours. Or at least that's what you're going to attempt to do. If a person's schedule truly is like, I work from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., I can only do it Saturday. Okay, I'm going to meet with you Saturday, right? 24 hours will give you plenty of time to find whoever you need to find, to get your listing pack together and prepare for that appointment, right? You'll be okay, trust me. What that also allows you to do is beat all the other agents to it. Almost every seller interviews about 2 to 3 agents, right? And that kind of brings us to this. So if every seller is interviewing 2 to 3 agents, and it's not on this chart, who do sellers typically choose? How do they choose a person?
Should be someone you feel comfortable with or trust.
That's it. Thank you. That is it. It's someone that they like, they feel comfortable with, and they trust. There was an agent back in the day. Well, she's still an agent. She's been an agent now 5 years. Her first year in the business. Within 3 months, she landed a $700,000 for sale by owner. Within 4 months, a $1.2 million for sale by owner. And then within 6 months, 2 more for sale by owners. Okay, so within 6 months, that was, what was that? 5 for sale by owners she landed the listings of. 2 of which, 2 of those, the seller said, I'm interviewing, and here's the agents I'm interviewing. And those agents are 20 plus years in the business and the absolute top agents in that area, numbers wise. But these sellers chose her. They all chose her, right? Because again, 1, she went in prepared. 2, she went in saying, this is my listing if I choose to accept it. She went in with confidence. Now, she did have to kind of fake the confidence in the beginning because let's just face it, until you get a whole bunch of listings under your belt, we kind of have to fake our confidence a little bit because we're a little, we're scared. It's scary, right? But she went in with confidence, like, all right, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to care about them. And she asked one of the sellers, why did after she got the listing, put the sign in the yard and it went under contract, she then said, I got to ask, why did you choose me over this other agent who's been an agent over 20 years and has the top numbers in the business? The seller's response was simple. It was, I just liked you better. That's it. That is it. Right? So if you're on here going, I'm brand new, I don't know if I can do this. Oh, why would they choose me? Go back to who you are, like your value. What could you bring to the table? Do you care about people? Are you genuine? Are you going to communicate? That's what they care about. Now, do they care about other things? Yes. Let's look at this chart here. What do they want out of you? So now they hired you because they like you. But now what are they expecting? Number 1, they expect us to help price the home competitively, right? They expect us to help market the home to buyers, not just simply put a sign in the yard and say, well, the sign's in the yard, hope someone sees it, right? But they expect you to actually work for our money, right? We're making a nice chunk of change on this thing. Let's earn it, right? They expect us to help sell the home within a specific time frame. They're hoping to be somewhere for a reason, right? Are they moving because of their job? Are they moving because they retire? They're looking to move for a reason, and they're hoping to be there before that, reason is needed, right? And then they hope that you at least talk to them about ways to show the house properly and fix it up. Doesn't mean they have to fix it up, but you're at least educating them on, hey, I know you love the color purple and all your walls are bright purple. In today's market, that might turn off a few buyers, and we want this to show the best it possibly can. My recommendation would be these colors because of this article that talks about the hottest spring colors of 2024. Right? Bring ammo, right? Bring something with you to kind of show them like, hey, here's what the market's saying about the paint colors. Now, here's the thing. They might say to you, no, I don't feel like painting. Okay. I'll still take the listing. I'll just price it a little lower. Right? All right.
Are you saying that out loud to them when you, with their purple walls, that you're going to take the listing and just sell it for a little bit lower?
So the great question. Not quite. I mean, yes, we have to have that conversation about price, but I'm not saying it at that very moment. I'll say it when we're sitting at the table talking about price and showing the market analysis.
Do you ever say like, well, okay, let's say you hired somebody to paint for you and it would cost you this much. It would be worth this much. Or, I know it's kind of hard in today's market because people are buying everything, kind of just as is. They don't care. But
so that's a great question. Yes, I mean, you can absolutely show them, and that's where that market analysis is so crucial, because you can show them like, hey, this house is on the market or closed or is pending for this amount. And let me actually bring up on my computer, my iPad, let me show you some of the pictures, right? Where this house, sold for a little less, right? And then even if it's not regarding paint colors, you can at least have an honest, here's the thing, just have a very honest conversation. Be respectful, be mindful of their feelings, right? Be very aware, I would say this, be very aware of their body language when you're having this conversation, because when you go and you start talking about someone's home, right? This is their home. For however long they live there, they put love into this thing. So never say anything that makes them feel bad, but we do need to educate them, right? At the end of the day, we're more consultants and educators than anything else, right? And never promise anything. Don't guarantee. You can say, we could, or this may, because of this, right? Kevin.
So on those lines, when we sold our home in Alaska, my wife became an agent, and we're going to list the home, and she says, we need to declutter. And I'm thinking, no, this is my home. And she kind of let me go with that for about 24 hours. The agent that was our buyer's agent when we got there actually said, hey, so Joy tried to talk to you about decluttering your home. It's like, yeah. She goes, well, you don't think she knew what she was talking about? We were friends at that time. I said, well, yeah, and she goes, take it from me. She's taking you down the right path, and it would be good to declutter your home. It will help you show it better, and people can vision their stuff there instead of yours.
I love it.
Sold in a week.
About that story. Here's what I love about that story, Kevin. Thank you for sharing that. Is you've had that experience. You've also had that mindset of, I'm going to say, a traditional homeowner seller, right? Of like, no, like this, like I'm living in my home still, right? Like, I don't want to take my pictures off my wall of my kids or do this, or like, why are you making me move my table around, right? What's great is when you go on your listing appointments and you will have that seller. All of you if you have listing appointments, you're going to come across that seller, right? You're able to use yourself as the example, right? And that's what, by the way, that also helps build trust. Hence the screen here, right? Building trust. They'll be able to connect with you because you had that experience. Anybody on here who has bought a home, sold a home, had family members that you lived with who bought or sold, or just know of experiences, use that. Like, don't be rigid in your presentation, right? Don't sit there with a slideshow and say, okay, slide number 1, we're going to talk about this. Slide number 2, we're going to talk about this. Be real. These are friends you haven't met yet. That's who they are. They are friends you have not met yet, that you have not gotten to know, that you are building a relationship with, right? And what that's going to allow to do is, on the screen here, it talks about trust, right? That's going to build trust because they're going to see how genuine you are. They're going to see how much you're educating them and how much you care about what they're saying. Doesn't mean they're right. Okay. Most of the time they're wrong, but you're caring about what they're saying to help them. And then the other one is, building and having that confidence. Now, what do you think what is something all of you could do literally this month, the month of June, to help you build your own confidence for listing appointments?
Practice.
It's like you're reading my mind right now. That's the best word you could say. Drop the mic, practice. That's it. Practice. Here's some ways to practice. Number 1, find a fellow agent. Go practice with them. Better yet, find a non-agent. Okay, find a friend, significant other. If you have kids in their 20s, use them. Trust me, they'll be honest with you. My daughter is 26, quite honest. Find a house on the market. Just find a random house on the market you like. Schedule a showing for yourself. Do it at a property. Schedule a showing for yourself and your friend or significant other. Prepare a CMA on that home. Prepare your listing packet, whatever you need to bring per your state requirements, right? Prepare whatever pages of a listing presentation you want to bring with you. Have your folder and tell this person, right? This friend, significant other, whoever you're bringing, hey, I want you to pretend like you're the seller. You own this home and you're interviewing agents to sell it. And go to the house and do a full mock listing appointment. That is one of the fastest ways you can build confidence, because that friend or significant other is, number 1, they don't know real estate. So they won't be trying to feed you jargon, right? What they're going to do is they're going to put on the hat of that seller. They're probably going to have some fun with it. And they're probably, if they like and trust you enough as a friend, they're probably going to give you some feedback at the end that's going to be really helpful. Right? That's going to help you build confidence when you haven't landed that listing yet. Because if you're waiting till you're ready to land a listing, you will always be waiting and you will not have a listing. I'm sorry. I just like to speak the truth. All right. I don't like to sugarcoat things. It doesn't help you in any way. And then the other thing with confidence is when you sit there and focus on the person and you're not focusing on selling, you're just focused on who they are, right? Like, who are you? What are your needs? Why is this important to you? Why are you looking to sell? How can I help you? What are you looking for in an agent? What's important to you? When you just have that conversation about them and how you can provide value based on their real estate needs, you're going to automatically feel more confident because you're not trying to sell them. You can't sell somebody, right? You're just getting to know them for them to choose you and you to choose them. All right. We're getting into, what I'm going to do is in about 2 slides, we're going to do a little activity together. And then we'll continue on. 7 close to appointment tactics. Right. So you're at the appointment. You have show the benefits, take back. I'm going to demonstrate these. Show the benefits of take back close, negative positive close, give them what they want, what they're looking for, trial close, assumptive close, and tie down. Actually, I have a great worksheet. I tend to do this, like I'll go through this and then I'll think of something that I want to send all of you. So now I have something else I want to send all of you. There's this amazing worksheet that is a 1-page sheet that actually shows different closing tactics and exactly how to use them and say them in a sentence. So I'll add that to the open house playbook that I will send out. It will not be coming tonight, so don't email me tomorrow at 9 a.m. saying, where is it? Because it won't come till the end of this week. I'll try to get out tomorrow night. I'm going to say end of the week by the latest. But some examples of these closing tactics, right, are things like, wow, I'm thinking of how to use one of these right now, and it is, let's show the benefits. So let's start with the benefits. Benefits could be something like, wow, okay, so what I'm hearing you say is you're looking for A, B, and C out of an agent you work with, right? Some of the things that when I list your property, when we're working together, notice that's, by the way, that's a tie down. When you hire me as your agent, that's also kind of an assumptive close, kind of like ties the two together. I'm going to communicate with you on a regular basis, update you on the pricing and the market, negotiate on your behalf, and really help net the top dollar that you're looking for to get you to North Carolina to be closer to family. Right? Tying what you're going to do to the benefit to them. How is this going to help them? Right? Here's the thing. Nobody wants to move. Moving is exhausting. You have to pack boxes. Things are going to break, cost money, right? So when you can tie why someone wants to move to how you can make it happen for them, and you bring those together, you're going to win. You will win. All right. I'm going to share a quick story. I'm going to take it off the screen here for this story. So it was one of my first listing appointments. I'll never forget it. One of my first listing appointments ever. The couple, husband was 86, wife 72, living in Maryland. And they have been attempting to sell their house for 2 years. They're with an agent for 9 months when expired. They were with an agent for X number of months when expired, another agent when expired. Okay, so first, before I go any further, what does that tell you about the property, the house?
They didn't want to leave.
So they didn't want to leave, maybe, what else?
Were there issues with the house?
Issues with the house, yes. What else?
Price?
Oh, there you go. Price too
Overpriced.
high. Yep, price too high. Because even a house that has issues, if it's priced properly, it's going to sell. So I noticed that this went expired 3 times with 3 different agents, all 3 times. So going on the listing appointment, you can't go to this type of listing appointment with just facts and numbers. You can't do that. You'll lose. If I just went into this listing appointment like, all right, listen, the market says it should be priced at this. We need to, here's what work you need to do. Number one, they probably wouldn't hire me, right? Or if they hired me, they price it too high. And then I'd be another agent just getting it, on the market just to go expired again. So instead, I needed fuel for the fire. I needed to find out what's their true pain point of why they wanted to move. What is causing them to want to move? Now it was gonna end up, I didn't know which direction it was gonna go. It was either gonna end with they truly don't want to move. I think somebody said that on here. They're able and ready, but not willing. Okay. Okay. I'll walk away. I had a listing appointment, great experience. I learned something. Let me walk away. Or it was going to end with them still not budging on the price. Or the third one, which is, okay, we got them down in price. Let's actually list this property. So one of the appointment sat there, and again, you can't go into this type of appointment talking about price. So instead, we sat at the table, and I didn't bring out a presentation. There was no computers. I had a folder to the left of me. I didn't even open for about 45 minutes because all we talked about was why they wanted to get to North Carolina in so much detail that what was uncovered, I'll give you the short version. What was uncovered was their kids moved to North Carolina years ago. They have grandkids. They had 3 grandkids. Based on the money they get from retirement, they could only choose one holiday every year to visit. And based on their kids in North Carolina, they didn't have the money to fly all 5 members up to visit them. So they missed birthday parties. They missed Grandparents' Day. They missed, they would choose either Thanksgiving or Christmas, they said. They missed the school play. They missed all that. They were missing all that year to year. So the conversation had to wrap around that. The conversation was not about selling them on choosing me as their agent to list their house just like all the other agents. The conversation was, you're going to hear a cat's battle, by the way. The conversation was, how many more years will you be okay missing these things? The conversation was, are you okay going the rest of your life choosing one holiday? It's a hard conversation to have, by the way. And yes, tissues were broken out. All right. I don't typically make people cry at appointments, but sometimes I do. So what do you think the outcome of that was? Oh, and by the way, the house, someone I think mentioned the house needed work. Every room's had pink carpets, pink walls, and pink doilies on the windows that they thought if they left them would give them more money. They were very proud of their pink house. Yeah, I love this one. They were very proud. By the way, when you go into some of these houses, poker face people, all right? Like get your poker face on, like practice it. Because trust me, my face inside was like, what in the world? Okay. But no, I was like, oh, wow, okay. You did a beautiful job with those pink doilies. That's wonderful. So what do you think the outcome of that was?
They gave you the listing because not only did you take time to inquire about why they wanted to sell the home, but you took interest in their family, their
Yes.
extended family.
Yes, they absolutely want to choose me because of that. Absolutely. But the big thing here is they had to come down in price, or would once again go on the market and go expired. Right. So I see here, you use the pain and pleasure approach. Yes. People will typically move on pain more than they will on pleasure. If you're going to a listing appointment and you're getting information about why they want to move, their motivation, right? Motivation doesn't have to always be pleasure, although that does, factors in as well. When you do that, you now, if you have a pricing discrepancy and they're thinking, oh my God, I want it listed at, so they want it listed at 230 and the market was like, oh, 199 at best for your house, like at best, right? That's a big gap. So you can't go in and simply say, no, 199. You have to say, the market is saying 199 is the top. I'm okay at trying it at 205 for 7 days and then lowering it. but how bad do you actually want to, like, are you ready? What's the next event you're ready to miss? And I said it right like that. Sometimes you got to sometimes you got to poke the bear a bit. All right. Just poke the bear a bit. By the way, they will appreciate for you, because at the end of the day, guess what? They got to move to North Carolina and they got to be part of every single event of their grandkids. That's huge. That is huge, right? That's why we do this. Okay. We're going to do a little activity before we get back to the slides. It is 7:17. Everything we do, you can train all day long, all night long, but if we're not taking action, you will never get a result. And there's only one action in our business that matters more than anything else. And what is it?
Lead generation.
Talking to people. Now, here's the thing. Don't pick up the phone and call people, because I'll never get you back. We're not making phone calls right now. I know you're really disappointed. I'm so sorry. What's going to happen? That was supposed to be a joke. Maybe it was just funny to me. I don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, I don't know if other instructors did this. Hopefully they did. We're going to have a little competition. Anybody like competition? No. Well, we're going to have one. I was a soccer coach for 9 years, so everything for me is competition. Our competition is going to be, you can either text, when I say go, you can either text or DM, not post to social media where people just like it. Text or DM as many people as you possibly can within 5 minutes. I'm going to put a timer on. Okay. Now here's the thing with this. I'm going to give you some examples. One example of this can simply be, hey, Tammy, have you been? It's Alana. I'm just reaching out to everybody I know right now, just to see if you have any real estate needs with, this year or next year I can help with. That's it. By the way, I love saying this year or next year, because if they have any next year, you want to know now. Right? I say, hey, Patrick, been a while. Just reaching out to everybody I know, see if you have any real estate, just reminding you I'm in real estate. If you have any real estate goals, or you know anybody, I'm here for you. Do you have anything coming up in the next year or two? Don't say hi, or you looking to buy or sell or invest, right? Use the thing like, do you have any real estate goals? Do you have any real estate needs? That's one of the greatest phrases, because they're going to think about that, and they're either going to respond with yes or no, or, oh, not right now, but maybe in the future, right? What you're doing is you're planting seeds. That's all you're doing with this. Now, I will tell you, there was an agent who did something brilliant, so I got to give credit to her. She actually did a quick little video. Oh, I'm holding my phone, but I have a background, so you can't see it. So she did a quick little video on her phone, and her video was just hey, Alana here. Just wanted to say hi. Hope you're having an amazing night. Reaching out to see if you have any real estate goals that I can help with now or in the future. Don't forget about me, because I want to help you. Something like that, right? She then mass text that video to everybody. It took her like 2 minutes. She was like, video done, text everyone. Right? By the way, she also landed 5 pieces of business within 3 days from that. Okay. 5 pieces, 3 days. Buyers and sellers. So what we're going to do, I'm putting the timer on. Any questions before we start? When I say go, you're to text or DM as many people as you possibly can. And then when I say stop, I'll give you a little warning. When I say stop, you're going to throw in the chat box what your number is. By the way, if they call you, don't answer. You're on a class. Okay. You can shoot them a quick text, being I'm in a class, I'll call you later tonight. Not that urgent. Even if they text you saying, oh my God, I'm looking to sell my house. It's not on fire. Just simply say, I'll call you in about an hour. for 45 minutes. Okay. All right. Any questions before we start? I'll be here if you need anything. I got the timer going. Let's go. 5 minutes. I'm going to find some music for the background. Oh, not the music I was looking for. Don't overthink it. Keep texting. Copy, paste, change the name. I once did this activity and forgot to change the name. That was fun. 42 cents, all to the same name. So you got to make mistakes to learn. Only 1 minute left. How many can you send in the next 45 seconds? All right. 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Time. All right, come on back. Get that last little word out. Throw in the chat box right now. Let's go to the chat box. Throw in the chat box how many you sent, not how many you received back. You can look at those later and everything. And if you have any great successes, I'd love to hear about them. And please share them with your Market Center. Like, we love celebrating successes. But yeah, how many? How many did you send? By the way, even if you're like, well, I only sent one, is that one more than you sent yesterday? That's a great number. It's more than you did, right? All right. I'm seeing 7. I'm seeing 3. I see 32. I see, Kevin, you definitely did some copy and paste in there. 8 and video 4. All right, I know there's more numbers on here. There's more names on the screen, more faces. 5. And people are probably counting like, I don't know, I need to count, right? All right, if you haven't put the number in yet, keep putting the number in. So I'm going to ask this question. How was that activity? Just be totally honest. How was that? Don't hold back. We're all friends here.
It was fun.
Fun? Is that what I heard? Okay, I love that. It was good. I got good here. All right. What else? Was it difficult for anyone?
I felt like it was part of accountability.
Yes. As a coach, that's my favorite word, so thank you. Absolutely, part of accountability, right? Let me ask you this. That was 5 minutes. 5 minutes. What would it look like, right? I'm guessing every single one of you got into real estate for a reason. You have your own reason. Whether that reason is to pay off bills, pay off debt, to buy a new car, to take a trip somewhere, to quit your other job because you hate your boss and you want a little more flexibility in life, right? Whatever it is, financial freedom, whatever that means to you, right? We all have a reason. We don't just do this for free, right? So if you have a reason and you just did that for 5 minutes and nothing bad happened, okay? No fire started, nobody blew up, nobody jumped off a roof, nothing bad happened. How close can you get to your why, your personal reason, and how many more listings can you get if you did that activity for 30 minutes a day? 30 minutes a day. So there's an agent who first year in real estate, a few years ago, really struggled a lot. They didn't have any closings their first year. They really struggled connecting with people on the phone, making the calls. They just had a hard time, but they loved the industry. They knew they could be successful. I knew they could be successful. So what she ended up doing, we did a little challenge as her coach, accountability, perfect word. We did a little challenge. And what I challenged her with is I said, anybody can do anything for 1 week. We really can. We can do 1 week is nothing. We can do it standing on our head, right? So what I challenged her to do is I said, I want you to send 25 messages, new messages, okay? Not to the same 25 people every single day because they would block you. 25 messages I said 5 days out of 7 days. 25 messages, 5 days a week. By day 3, she got in such a rhythm of her message, and she had a document where she typed up her message, okay, that it was saved, where when she went to go send messages, she literally just, I'm going to pick this one and copy paste and change the name and pick this one and copy paste. So she didn't have to rethink the message every day. And she went and she was on Facebook and she DM'd 25 new people every day on Facebook. On the third day, she DM'd over 50 and Facebook actually blocked her for 24 hours. We learned there was a limit. Lesson learned. Facebook blocked her for 24 hours because copy paste looks like spam. That's fine. 24 hours. She got back on. But cool. What ended up happening in 5 days? Want to take a guess? Anybody? So she was doing 25, 25. She did 50. She got blocked. She went back to 25 to 30. What happened in that week?
She
She
heard
got-
from many people.
Okay. She heard from many people. Absolutely. Absolutely. What else?
She get a listing appointment.
Not only one, three.
Nice.
3 listing appointments and 4 buyers. And the amount of future business building her pipeline was absolutely huge. She found out people who want to move in 2 years when their kids graduated. She found out people who want to move in 3 years when they retired. Her pipeline, by the way, does everybody understand? Like pipeline being like your future business, right? It grew like crazy in 1 week. So I'm going to move forward. We're going to get into some nitty gritties here of the listing appointment. But again, we can sit here and we can talk listings all day and buyers all day and listing packets and pre-listing packets and train and train and train. But if you don't do that activity, you'll never use this. Okay. Yes. Is it Lori?
Yes, sorry, I had to unmute once again. My battery died just as I was taking a screenshot of that request to you. And language for me is very powerful. It is for everyone, but that really helps me a lot. That gives me confidence. So I was wondering if anybody could type that again. And this is why I don't make calls, because I don't really know what to say. I know I need practice, which is why I'm taking Ignite. But yeah, that was bad timing. So I did not get that.
No. Are you talking about the example text message?
Yes.
Not a problem. We can definitely put that in here again.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate you asking. I'm sure somebody else could use that as well.
I was thinking that too. Okay, great.
Yep, not a problem. We will, yes, I will re-put that in there in just a few minutes. Okay. So we're going to move into the pre-listing packet. Okay, now here's the great thing about the pre-listing. Ooh, that just ran right forward there. Here's the thing about the pre-listing packet. There's many that are already created out there. Don't reinvent the wheel. So many times agents are like, well, I can't make these calls or texts yet because I don't have this set. Guess what? You can have a pre-listing packet ready to go by tomorrow. It won't be perfect. You're going to revamp it about 100 times over the next year. I think I've changed mine literally 30 plus times. The market's totally changed. So my packet that I have now, completely different, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. Just have something. Okay. Now, the thing with the pre-listing packet, I will tell you this is, let me just move forward here. The pre-listing packet should show somebody ahead of time a little bit about what you're going to do for them. The pre-listing packet should not be all about you. Here's another little secret. Buyers and sellers don't care about us. They don't. I mean, we make friends and we'll get to know them and they care that we care about them, right? But they don't care that all about our accolades, right? Now, is it nice when you go and you ramp up your numbers and you've sold X number of homes to have a page in there that shows that? Absolutely. Do you need that for them to choose you? Absolutely not. Okay. So what it does is it helps build the seller's confidence in you. Right? It also can answer questions. One of my favorite things to put in the pre-listing package is a one-pager that you get right out of the listing presentation from Designs in Command. And the one page is called the process. Because that's what they want to know. What is the process? What are you going to do? Right? It also saves time. So when you actually go on the appointment itself, you're not meeting with them for 2 hours. Right? You should be in and out max 45 minutes. Okay. We don't have time to sit with someone for 2, 3, 4 hours. So it saves you time. It also shares your value, right? When you have in the pre-listing packet, so for example, there's when you look at the listing presentation that is in Designs in Command, there is a page called, it's 2 pages and it's questions for them to answer that shows that you care about them. There is a page called the process. There's a page called the how to show your home. How I'm going to market your home, different marketing strategies. By the way, these are all created for you. There's nothing you need to create. You can literally go in there, print these pages out and have it. Download the PDF and be like, here it is. Here's all you're doing is making a cover page with your pretty face on it. And all your contact information, your brokerage contact information for compliance purposes. Right? So this is provided to them prior to the appointment. So let's say you're going on the appointment tomorrow, right? So I have my appointment tomorrow at 6:15, right? With Kevin and the family. The listing packet has to get to them before then. So this is something you want to already have ready. And once you have a pre-listing packet ready, you're really not changing it. There's not much. You can actually have one packet that you're just, maybe the only thing I'll change on it is that cover page. I'll actually put a picture of their house on the front page and their names on it to like give a little personal touch. But other than that, click send, click send. Things to not include in the listing packet, don't put in there the market analysis. Do not, you can put whatever else you want. Do not put in there how much you think the house should be listed for. Why is that?
Because they're going to want to tell you.
Okay, yes, they are going to want to tell you. Oh, trust me.
And you haven't seen the place yet. You haven't seen a tour of the house yet.
Right. You haven't toured it. So you actually can't, yes, you can ask you can go through a seller questionnaire, ask tons of questions, get details on the house, very detailed. But until you see it, you don't know what range it's in. And let's say that, is it Geraldine? Okay.
Yes,
So let's say I
yes.
send the pre-listing pack to Geraldine right now. And that in the packet, it says that I'm suggesting the price of $350. But she has in her head, her house should be $400. What do you think Geraldine's going to do?
Gonna be like,
She's canceling the appointment. Yeah. She's not even meeting with me. The appointment she will text me. She won't even call me. She will send me an email or text saying something came up. We need to reschedule.
Yeah.
Which basically says, I don't want to hire you. We're done.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, don't put that in there. That is a number one rookie mistake that I learned the hard way. Okay. Put in there what you're going to review, right? When you go to the appointment, let them know like, hey, I'm going to walk through the home. We're going to walk through the home. I'm going to take to really see, have you tour me around your house. We're going to go through how I market homes to get them sold. We're going to go through what you're looking for in the agent you hire. What's important to you? By the way, that's one of the greatest questions you can ask somebody. Let me ask you, what is important to you in the agent that you hire? Because when you ask them that question and they give you an answer, now you know those are the only things that you need to actually focus on. You don't need to talk all about A, B, and C if all they care about is A. A lot of times as newer agents or agents who have not had enough listing appointments, I'll say, yet, we are actually the ones who talk ourselves out of the listing because we talk too much. We tell them too much. We are basically throwing up all over them all this information, and they don't want to know that. So if we find out what's important to them and just focus on that, makes the appointment a lot more enjoyable and better chances of them signing.
How do you like, okay, if someone says to you, like, I want an agent that's honest, or it's hard to then be like, well, yeah, yes, I'm very honest. You know what I mean? It's hard to.
So great question. I would ask, so when someone says something like that, throw a question back at them. Well, you know what? So what you're going to do is you're going to welcome in when somebody says to you what they want, or they even throw out like an objection, welcome it in, right? By saying something like, wow, I love that, or thanks for letting me know that, or I'm so glad you brought that up. That's letting you know that you heard them. Then you can respond with something like, okay, so listen, I get the word. I love the word. What does that look like to you? When you say you want an agent that's honest, because I can sit here and tell you, I'm going to always be honest with you. I just want to make sure I'm on the right page. What does that look like to you? How would that show up for you? Right? Trust me, they're going to tell you.
Mhm.
Right? They're going to be like, tell me when we have offers. Tell me when this is it. Tell me if I need to do something in the house, right? Keep me updated. Communicate with me. These are things they're going to tell you. Right? Don't sugarcoat anything.
Okay.
Don't lie to me. Does that help?
Yeah, very much so. Because
Okay.
it just kind of sounds, everybody can sit there and say, I'm honest.
Yeah. So if they ask, if they say something, you're like, okay, what does that look like to you? Right? When you say honest, how does it show up? Right.
Yeah.
And then obviously get everything over to them. Ensure all decision makers attend. We talked about that already. Practice. Now, this says listing presentation. I'm going to tell you guys this. If you've never been on a listing appointment yet, listing presentation means however you like to deliver the listing or deliver the meeting. Here's what I mean by that. Everybody has a different personality style. Me, I'm not a PowerPoint person. I'm using one right now because it helps me stay on track a little bit. Naturally, I just like to sit, talk, let's get to know each other. When I first started, I thought, because I attended classes and nobody said this to me, I thought that listing presentation meant you had to show up with your laptop or iPad or printed out packet and go through each page, page by page, and present. But because that wasn't my natural style, it came across not genuine. Right? So I got turned away. I don't even know how many times they chose other agents. Right? Because again, I wasn't coming across as me. So listing presentation actually means, how do you want to meet with people that matches your personal style? Now, my friend who is an agent, we're total opposites, and she loves herself a good organized PowerPoint. Shit, that is her jam. All right. So for her, she's more successful doing it that way. If she has to wing it and just sit there, she doesn't even know what to say. She gets flustered, right? So when it says practice your presentation, presentation simply means your appointment. And it just means, how do you want to present to them? For me, it looks like this. It is 3 things. Ready? I'm going to give you the secret 3 best things you can do for a listing appointment. This isn't even in the slide. I don't think. Number 1, you show up on time. Don't be late. Do not be late. Show up early, hang out in your car for a little bit so you walk to the house on time. You show up on time. When you get there, walk around the house. Hey, love to take a quick tour around the house. Now you're not taking a tour around the house to start giving them suggestions on what to fix. Just take notes, mental notes, notes on a paper, just take notes. Don't write down anything negative. They're looking over your shoulder and they will see that and not like you. If you see something negative, like pink doilies and pink walls and pink carpets all over, just have a mental note of it. Okay. So you walk around the house. After you walk around the house, you sit at the table. Trust me, they will find a place for you to sit. If there is no table because they already moved their stuff out, you will stand at a countertop. All right. Find a place like, hey, where can we go just sit and talk for a little bit? They will direct you. When you sit there, don't pull out all the packet stuff yet. Sit there and get to know them. Maybe you pull out some of the questionnaires that the listing presentation has and start asking them some of those questions. But just, hey, I just want to get to know a little bit more about you and why you're moving again. Dig deeper into that. Get them to say it again, the importance of it. By the way, this part about it, if we want to break down by time, the walk around the house, depending on the size of the house, takes about 5 to 8 minutes. No more. Again, depending on size. If it's a much larger house, it could take 10. Then when you sit down and you're having this conversation about why they're moving again, their motivation, that might be about 15 minutes max. If you really have talkers or you have like that North Carolina couple, I knew I had to really dig into that pain point before I could talk about price. That took a good 30 minutes. Okay. But really you're 15 minutes. Then you can pull out open your note, what do I want to call it? Your folder. Right. And you can show a little bit about, okay, here's how I market homes. Here's things I do. Here's the process, right? Hand them those pages so they keep them. Finally, you close them. Okay, so first part's walking around the house. Second part is getting to know them more, revisiting their motivation. Third part is let's talk numbers and closing. What price do you have in mind? Here's what the market's saying. I'm excited to start working for you. I'm excited to start working on your behalf to get you North Carolina. We're going to whip out the exclusive right to sell or whatever it's called in your state. Hand them a pen. Let's go. That's it. 3 steps, listing appointment right there. Now again, doesn't mean everybody says yes to you. Doesn't mean you say yes to everybody.
So I'm sorry, did you say you telling them did you say in that process of going through everything, you're going to mention the price of their home or you're asking them what price they are thinking?
Yeah, good question. So a best practice. So all I do is share best practices from different people. Okay. Myself, other top agents I work with, these are best practices. The more listing appointments you go on, by the way, you're going to find your style. You're gonna have a style. So best practice I would say is I always like to ask the person, hey, what price did you have in mind? Everybody has a price. What price did you have in mind for your home? Now, here's why I like to ask that. Let's say that I've walked around the house, you do the market analysis, you have a price in mind. You already have a range like, okay, this house needs to be between 320 and 339 max. Right? Like it needs to fall between that. And let's say that you come back and say, yeah, I'm thinking like 325. I don't need to pull out the market analysis I did. I don't even need to talk about numbers. I can literally look at you and say, wow, you are spot on. I love that. We're on the same page. Let's get your house in the market. And I'll hand you the next paper. I'll skip over talking about the market analysis, hand you the paperwork to sign and choose me as your agent. That's why I like to ask about price. Now, if you come back and say, yeah, I'm thinking like 350. And again, the range the market is saying is 320 to 339. And you just said 350. Now I can say, okay, well, let's talk about that number. How'd you come up with that number? Let's talk about the market. Now you can actually show your market analysis and walk through educating them on why 350 is not the best move if they actually want to sell it.
So you have your CMA done then? Because I've had,
Oh, absolutely.
okay, no, just because I've had listing meetings and with a real estate agent when I sold my house, and we talked, they toured and said, I'm going to look at, I'll come back with you with the market analysis. She did ask me what I thought and then came back like with her deeper analysis, I should say.
Interesting. There are agents who I know a very, very successful agent who 90% of their business is listings, and they go out on the appointment to do a preliminary, I'll call it preliminary, like let me see the house, let me look at everything, let me talk to you, let's figure everything out, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to price it, we're going to do this and this and this, right? That agent's also been in the business 25 years.
Mhm.
To be able to work up to that.
Yep.
Right. That's his style. When you, again, most sellers interview 2 to 3 other agents. The one who gets in first, let me rephrase this. The one who gets in with the paperwork to get signed first wins. As long as they trust you, like you, and feel like you have their best interest at heart. Right. So this is an example of a page that actually comes right out of the listing presentation packet in Command. If you don't know, if you're struggling with like, what do I ask them? Take this page right out of that presentation, print it out, make tons of copies. There's your cheat sheet, right? And just change the questions, right? The questions are great, but always do it in your own tone, right? Everything you do, stay true to who you are. You're going to attend tons of trainings, tons of Ignite, different instructors, different verbiage, different way to say things in your market center, different things. You always want to take what you learn and make it you. Don't change it, just make it you, right? So for example, the first question, what's the one thing that has to happen to make that dream scenario reality? I would never use the phrase dream scenario. Those are just words I don't use, right? So for me, I might make that say, wow, you know what, Geraldine, what's the one thing that has to happen to get you to be closer to family in Florida sooner? Like I'm going to tie something you said into it. Right. So that's what I mean by don't revamp everything, but still make it yourself. Okay. All right. We're not talking about Command because that is a Thursday night thing. So we talked a little bit about the walkthrough. I did see in the chat, somebody mentioned, which by the way, thanks for, we learn. This is how we learn. I can't tell you how many times I did this. We made the mistake of pointing out the old leak stain. Here's the thing. Do you need to point those things out? Absolutely. Try not to do it until they sign the paperwork. You're not their agent yet. They have not hired you. And if you start giving them advice, everybody knows an agent. Everybody knows an agent. So if you start telling them pricing and suggestions, and I recommend this and I recommend that, they're going to say, thank you. Let me think about it. Let me get back to you. Then they're going to call their friend who's probably not trained and say, hey, here's all the information I got from this agent. You can be my agent now. And they'll just go with someone else. Until you have that happen, we're all going to make that mistake of doing it because we like to be helpful. After you get burned so many times, you'll change it up. And that's okay. That's okay. Right? Little lost art, handwritten the thank yous. This goes a long way. Right? Go to Amazon, go to Target, go to wherever you like, buy one of those huge boxes of thank you cards, just have them sitting there. And whether they signed with you or didn't sign with you, the second you leave that appointment, that same day, quickly write a little handwritten note card, right? If they sign with you, your handwritten note card is, I'm so excited to be able to help you, blah, whatever it is, their words, right? If they didn't sign with you, it was such a pleasure meeting with you. I am excited to help you. You're still saying the same thing. You're locking what you're doing is you're sending them signals, right? It's like you're putting in their brain like you're their agent. You put that in the mail the same day, they get it, depending on your mail service, 2-3 days later, right? That's going to mean something. And who do you think they're probably going to show that card to or tell somebody about? Who will they say, tell somebody about that card, right? Their friends, right? They're probably gonna be like, oh my God, I just got a thank you card from a person I didn't even hire. Or I just got a thank you card from the agent I just hired. Now they're talking about you to their friends. Hint, hint, referrals. Okay. And then finally, the final piece of this, the listing agreement. Now, because we have so many states represented on these national calls here for Ignite, I don't go into detail on the listing agreement. What I'm going to say to you is, number one, if you have not practiced putting together a listing packet with a listing agreement, please do that this month. If you have access to it in your state, find a listing, find a home, or if you have a house, do a full listing packet agreement, getting whatever help you need to at your brokerage as a mock. Send it to yourself as if you're the seller to sign it, right? Walk through every one of those steps, because when you actually have that true real listing appointment and that person says to you at 11 a.m. in the morning, hey, can you come out tonight at 6:30? I'm meeting with another agent tomorrow. You want to say absolutely yes, and you want to have already done a listing agreement to know how to do it for that appointment. You don't want to be practicing on that first appointment. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. Right, and have it completely filled in minus the price, because you still need to talk about that. So you're not sitting there filling everything in front of them. They see it, they see the details. Now it's just a matter of, here's my errors, where do I sign? Okay, we're going to open it up for some questions. While we're opening this up for some questions right now, what I want to do is share a screen with you. In 1 second. So raise your hand, put the questions in the chat box. Come off of mute, whichever it is. We have about 2 minutes left. And while I'm opening this up, I'm going to ask for a favor. So I'm as I say in the beginning, a national Keller Williams certified trainer. To keep being a trainer, we have to get so many surveys. I'm a very honest person, so I'm just going to be very honest with all of you. So we have to get so many surveys every year to continue to be certified. Which again, by the way, anybody on here who has a passion for that, I love helping people go down this path. Please reach out to me. I would love to help you. So if you can go to KW Eval on your phone or computer, whichever one comes up first, KWUEVAL.com. Your screen that pops up is going to look like this, where it's going to ask you for your region. Event type is virtual. The drop-down course should say, they change this frequently, but it should say Ignite Win the Seller. If it doesn't, somebody tell me what it says. The drop-down menu for name, my name is in the list. It's after H, it starts with I. So it's an IL, in case you want to know, it's not 2 L's. So right after H starts with I. This will only take like 30 seconds to complete. I love 4s and 5s, but I also love honesty. So your name's not on it, but I love the feedback. So while you're doing that, let's open this up for different questions. What questions you have regarding listings, landing a listing, the listing appointment, or what is one thing you're walking away with feeling a little more confident about?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. So two-part question. You can answer either one. Either one, do you have any questions? What questions do you have? I'm here. And ask them. Or no questions. Two, what's a takeaway? What's something you got out of any part of tonight?
I
always like to hear what people
enjoyed
take away.
the listing presentation, how you broke it down and you said, you know, what the 3 things we should do to go to the listing appointment, to show up on time, to walk around the house, like you broke it down. Don't take out your papers right away, your presentation, talk to them, sit down, get to know them, explain the process. That was just like really good. Cause I think that, yeah, just in my head, I probably would have walked in, hi, how are you? And just kind of taken that stuff right out. And yeah, I think that was good. Thank you. Not I think, it was. Thanks.
No, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. All right, let's hear from a few more. Let me look in the chat box here. Send the open house playbook. Okay, got this. Yep, thank you. Oh, I love the reminders. Thank you so much. Oh, explain how to properly turn down listing appointment. Oh, I didn't do that. Let me do that really quick because yes, that was asked. Thank you for reminding me. Here's the thing. Let's say you go to appointment. Now, when you go to appointment, you should already have in your head what you're negotiating for commission, what you're willing to do, not willing to do. We're not going to talk about commission because every state's different, so we can't. But let's say that you go on the appointment and either one, they're just a difficult person. Like you're like, wow, I don't like them. By the way, that happens. Okay. We might not like everybody. Doesn't mean we have to work with them. Or they are really off their rock on price. Like you're saying 350 and they're like 500. Right. And they will not budge. Right. So let's use that one as an example. That actually came out to me. That was a listing I had back in the day. The owner of the property wanted a few $100,000 above what it's worth. He wanted 1.2. The house was at best 800,000. Like at best 800,000. And that's the high point, right? And he would not budge at all. And I remember asking him at the appointment, listen, if we list it for this and there's no showings, there's nobody that shows up, are you willing, that's the keyword, are you willing to come down in price? His response was no. I said, okay, so it sounds to me you don't really, like if this never sells, what do you plan to do? He goes, oh, I'm just going to live here. I don't have to move. So he wasn't willing to make changes, and his readiness really wasn't ready, right? He was hoping to move, but he wasn't truly ready to move. So I actually looked at him. His name was Joe. Really nice guy. Name was Joe. And I looked at him and said, Joe, could I take this and put my sign in the yard? Absolutely. But I personally take listings to sell them, not to have them sit. And the market is saying this. By the way, blame everything on the market. All right. Just use the market. That's your phrase. Market, the market, not me, not you, market. The market is saying this. So my recommendation, if we're not coming to agreement on price or even starting it somewhere and being able to lower it after a certain point in time, I'm probably not the right agent for you. Right. And that's okay. If anything changes or you change your mind on things or you're truly ready to sell it, I'm here. Call me. I'll follow up. I'll touch base with you, but I'm probably not the agent for you. All right. Joe looked at me and was like, wow, I never had anybody say that to me. I'm like, I just want to be honest. He respected that like crazy. The amount of referrals I got from Joe was amazing. He respected the honesty. Right. And it was very genuine honesty. I'm not sitting there going, you're crazy with the price. Like, oh my God. Right. Just no, like, I'm just not the person. There's the thing. That was my choice as an agent. I will tell you this. There's another agent who did take that listing, who I know, who put the sign in the yard, and I asked the agent, why did you take that listing? The agent said, I don't care if I sell that house. I want my sign in that yard so people see it. And that was that agent's choice, and that's fine. There's no right or wrong there, by the way. There is no right or wrong. It's your business. Remember that as you go through Ignite, as you grow your business, everything you choose is based on what you want your business to look like. I didn't want to spend money on drone and photography and this and this and this to simply have my sign in the yard and have it sit. The other agent had no issues with that. Cool. By the way, it never sold. Just, end story, never sold. Like, still to this day, never sold. And that was back in 2016. All right. Joe's still living there. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate all of you. Just a reminder, huge reminder. Number one, if you're not getting the weekly emails that usually come out on Sunday or Monday, reminding you of what the classes are, what the dates are, please, please, please send me an email and say, I'm not receiving those emails, and I will make sure you're on the list. I just put my email in the box again. The other thing is tomorrow night is Thursday night, which means it's called Ignite Specialty Night, where we're implementing technology to enhance and give you time back in your life. Tomorrow night is all about mastering engagement. How do we continually engage with people to grow our business? And how do we use technology as a personal assistant? How do we turn technology into our personal assistant to make that happen? Okay. So hope to see you all tomorrow night. Thank you so much. Have an amazing night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. You
Bye.
too. This was great.
Thank you. Have a good
everyone.
night.